And now, please relax for a short presentation by Jim Graypeck on how the Pavilion, which introduces new sciences, new models, and new ways of thinking, can help address today's problems on many levels.
I'm here today to introduce the Pavilion. It's what I call a center for smart living, a 21st century World's Fair type facility designed from the ground up to showcase and deliver the best that science and humanity has to offer in terms of health, longevity, continuing education, arts classes, social activities, and more. Yet it's really about a vision. What exactly is smart living? Smart living to me is about living in such a way that you can enjoy life to its fullest. It's about having a body healthy enough to support your goals and desires. It's about having the mental and emotional wherewithal to make good decisions, at least more than 50% of the time, as my dad used to say. And it's about being able to weather those painful times when they do come in a way that gives more meaning to our lives. Smart living recognizes that we are inhabitants of a living earth with a brilliantly intelligent system of nature, and that everything works best when we cooperate and support the natural environment. Now, if you're thinking this smart living sounds more like common sense, you're right. And it's pretty sad, I think, that we actually need to build a facility for smart living. I kind of feel we've hit a collective low point. Speaking of low points, it was just revealed that American men now rank last in terms of life expectancy out of the top 17 industrial nations in the world. Even worse, about 50% of Americans are suffering from at least one chronic disease. And our children, 1 out of every 6 of our children is suffering from autism or a neurological disorder. Now please, understand that I would rather not throw any disheartening news your way, but to quote Larry Cohn, head of the Communication Workers of America, "The American dream is in tatters. Whether it's a voice on the job, or our standard of living, or healthcare, or education, all are being destroyed on our watch." Seeing everything sliding downhill got me pretty depressed. Every part of me was screaming, "This is wrong." I mean, the Berlin Wall came down, right?
Yesterday.
So what's going on here? I felt driven to seek answers, more like a big answer, to this myriad of deep-rooted challenges. And then one day, while riding my motorcycle, I had an epiphany. It came to me that science, specifically quantum science, held the answer we needed. I had filmed a lecture a month earlier by a leading physicist, Dr. William Tiller, which turned my head around. And I was a physics major in college, by the way. Paradigm-shifting discoveries had given us new understandings about how life, health, and our universe operates. And with them came new solutions. It's a bit like when Copernicus discovered that the Earth actually revolved around the sun. When people really grasped it, it changed everything. Science, belief systems, perceptions, everything. We're kind of at that same point today. There is nothing less than a huge scientific paradigm shift taking place right now. It's like we're being upgraded from the abacus to iPads overnight. Basically, it turns out that many of the things you and I think we know about the world, including the most fundamental things like what is and isn't possible, are, well, wrong. They come from an outdated 300-year-old scientific operating paradigm known as classical physics. Now mind you, it's still quite good for some things, yet the scientific community replaced it years ago with a model that more accurately represents how things fundamentally work. And this model is based on quantum physics. In addition to being very different from what you and I learned, it's also incredibly applicable to our daily lives and easy to start utilizing to fix everything. No exaggeration, quantum physics, biophysics, epigenetics, and a recent addition to our body of science, biogeometry, are game changers. They put within our grasp the capability to heal most disease, restore the environment, feed the hungry, access unlimited, non-polluting energy, and live richer, healthier, and more enjoyable lives. To quote Dr. Tiller, With what we've learned, we can improve every technology we presently have and even create new ones. Sound like a dream? It is, and it's a dream ready to be manifest. Today, we stand on the brink of a revolutionary, evolutionary scientific paradigm shift which will propel us forward in a quantum leap, pun intended. And it's a quantum leap so important that the Pavilion will have its own science center to showcase it, the first of its kind. Yet there is no paradigm shift unless we make it happen. I have no doubt things will have to change in the future. Change is one constant we can be certain of. But will those changes make things better or worse? If you and I don't move forward on the changes we'd like to see, someone else is going to make the changes they'd like to see. The best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. Now, health and aging well are important to all of us, and that's why I made this a focal area of the Pavilion. And the discoveries that have been made in this area are breathtaking. We are not just physical bodies with biochemical interactions. The ancient Chinese and many of the indigenous peoples were right. Each of us has a complex system of conscious, living energy pathways running through and around our bodies, which carry energy much like our veins carry blood. This energy grid, what the National Institutes of Health calls the human biofield, plays a critical role in our health. Because conventional medicine has not embraced these new understandings, though, this, in part, has helped precipitate the worst health crisis in our history. And a lot of people are starting to take notice. The esteemed scientist Rustum Roy said, conventional medicine is headed towards extinction because it is essentially operating the same way as it did in the 1800s. And the rest of science has advanced far beyond that. Now, I'm all for conventional medicine, for emergencies, for stabilizing short-term conditions, and for treating disease symptoms, as opposed to disease causes. It doesn't treat the root causes of disease, and therein lies the problem. The practice of medicine has become the business of medicine. The Harvard University Hospital, for example, limits doctor-patient contact to 7.5 minutes. How can you treat anybody in 7.5 minutes? Meanwhile, in Europe, many doctors and health practitioners are using acupuncture and things like high-tech energetic tools to speed up healing, restore energy, heal chronic diseases, and optimize their patients' health at the cellular level. As I learned about these devices, I met people who, by using them, were able to cancel their back or knee operations or cure themselves of things like MS and Parkinson's, which I thought were incurable. And I learned that vitamins and nutritional supplements played a big role also. I even met a man who beat Alzheimer's. I saw the x-rays too. And I thought, wow, people really need to know about these things. Everybody needs access to them. Thus, the Pavilion will be the first facility of its kind to give people unlimited direct access to these advanced health technologies, all for about the same price as an upscale monthly health club membership. Like I said earlier, the best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. And I say this with a heightened sense of urgency. Let me explain. There was a landmark study which examined humanity's possible futures a while back, conducted by the prestigious Stanford Research Institute. The study, which brought together some of the world's brightest minds and most powerful supercomputers, concluded that out of the 50 most likely futures we were facing, only a handful of them were desirable. The rest were dismal. The study went on to say that for us to realize any of these more desirable futures would likely require fundamental changes in society. And that would be best served by embracing the emerging quantum science model and a more holistic, interconnected understanding of our world. The study also suggested placing the highest value on fostering personal development, family, and community. Smart living. Today, as this message takes on even more urgency, we have a vehicle to help carry it out, the Pavilion. The Pavilion can help fulfill this imperative by showcasing the new science, new thinking, and new solutions to begin creating that desirable future. Now, I'm hoping that most of you have led a pretty good life. I certainly have. Despite the ups and downs, I've been very blessed. Yet, we all have friends and family who haven't been so lucky. My mom died from a painful cancer, several friends are suffering with Lyme disease, and a lot of people, including some very smart PhDs I know, are struggling to make ends meet. It shouldn't be like this. With what we know now, truly, we can shift everything. Where do we begin? Brilliant inventor and futurist Buckminster Fuller said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. If you want to change things, build a new model which makes the existing one obsolete." That's where the Pavilion comes in. Even the building, using the science of the pyramids, is designed to support life and balance. Once inside, the Pavilion will help you feel better, stronger, and rejuvenated. It's all about smart living and new models. Finally, here's why we should build these pavilions. If things deteriorate further, our Pavilion community will thrive regardless. We'll have the health and healing know-how, the science-based solutions, food and energy resources, arts, friends, and plenty of organic wine. And if things get better, the Pavilion can be a template for smart living, for building healthier communities, and for manifesting that desirable future where all of us can live long, active, richer, and more meaningful lives. Let's fulfill our rightful destiny and create that future we deserve.